Well, hey, good morning. Welcome to Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30 plus your video game enthusiast and industry analyst. Every Monday through Friday, about this time for about 30 minutes, I'll talk about the latest gaming news, what I've been getting into, all that. Good morning to Ultronymous, Chris, Jim, Kel X, already in to get started. Awesome. Yeah, so I pulled a bunch of different news stories that I want to go through. We might do some, I don't know if this would be a segment like rapid fire news where I'm just reading off, here's this, here's that, because there's a lot of things, not that need to dive into it too much. And then I wanted to also talk about what's coming out for the rest of January. As I feel like lately I've been just playing older games, I guess. I guess we can take a look at that, can't we? Let's see. Yeah, today is Tuesday. What did I do Monday night? Or yesterday after work? Not too much, actually. I did actually, for real, play Minecraft this time. I know sometimes we'll see Minecraft on there and I'll say, well, I wasn't playing it. But no, this time I was. My son has gotten back into it and he wanted to join one of our old servers. We had one from 2021, a world, and we had done so much for years. And it said 2021 was the last time we logged into it. Maybe that's true. Man, the time then flew by, but I guess that kind of makes sense considering what was going on then, if I'm thinking back. Anyway, it was just kind of fun. So what's interesting is when I went to go play this world from 2021, it did say, hey, we need to do an update. Is that okay? To the world. And I was like, yeah, sure. So what it does, and I could be wrong about this. This is just what I'm not into Minecraft as much. It's like I used to understand a little more, but what was now bedrock is now a different material, and you can dig under that material. And we even got to new places that weren't, there before that they added into the world, and it was like a whole underground like jungle area with a bunch of lava flows everywhere. Just neat stuff. But anyway, we didn't do much there. We were just kind of jumping around doing things. Not really. I guess it's kind of neat because what we've had in this world, why we wanted to play it, is I have it's a 4 or 5 story castle that I actually have a bridge that goes to like another mountain, and this castle's built on a hill, and at the bottom of the hill we have farms, we have mines, so it's like these little mounds with doors to go in to have mines, and the underground of the castle is this giant mine network. So wherever we wanted to go on the map, it's just been kind of fun doing that every once in a while. And then also playing more Godzilla using the PS Portal. You know what? The PS Portal is fantastic. I forget that I'm not playing the game locally, and I love that. Because you're not playing the game locally, then the hardware itself is much lighter, thinner, quieter. There's so much about it that this is the future of gaming. And even with the Switch 2 coming out, I could see Nintendo trying to have some sort of service. They might as well test, because they already have a handheld out, for some sort of cloud streaming. I know they already do that with some of the games, like third-party games, but to make it a bigger initiative, I don't know, I just really like this idea. It is crazy playing PS5 on a portal. And I've done this before. I've talked about with the ROG Ally. But it is perfect. And I wasn't expecting this. Obviously, when the portal first came out, there were issues. They've been updating it, but now it is perfect. It's pretty crazy. Hey, Fulcrum, to me, Minecraft is just pure nostalgia, like Minecraft 1.0 LAN parties. Yeah, man, I remember when Minecraft first came out, when it was, I remember back when it first came, I remember thinking, wow, these graphics are odd, but I guess it allows for a game like this to be made by a single person. And then it's just crazy. Like, I gotta say, a lot of times we dunk on big companies when they buy out other games or studios, but what Microsoft has done with Minecraft is pretty awesome. They've only added to it, done more. I think it was, wasn't it a couple weeks ago? I think New Year's stream or before, or stream. Yeah, not like I was streaming. But anyway, I was playing the Godzilla Minecraft game that they came out with, which is a lot of fun. yeah, there's just so many things. There's a new Sonic thing. I don't know. It goes back to what I've said before about some games where once I've played a certain amount of it, my mind doesn't want it anymore. It can appreciate it like 120 hours for Minecraft. That makes sense, but that's insane. In terms of it would be hard for me to go back and spend a substantial amount of time with this game because I already have. LAN parties, yeah, I miss those days. It was great. Back when taking our computers to a friend's house, we had the tower, we had the giant monitors when they were the CRTs. Man, I remember placing my monitor on the passenger seat of my car, putting the tower down at the footrest of the passenger, or the foot, or the whatever. There was this friend of mine named Brandon. We'd go to his house. We'd all, hook up our machines and play. I remember during that time, we'd play stuff like, I think Jedi Outcast came out back then. So this was like late 90s, or maybe early 2000s. And then, sometimes we just play some random games, and then there'd just be random people you'd meet. That's when, when you're younger, you have more time to just do all this stuff. And I guess as you get older, you do too, as then your kids go off and do stuff. So, and the last LAN party I had was when Overwatch came out. The house I had before this one, it was a duplex we were renting. I got some people, over to play some Overwatch. I remember we strategically positioned computers around. It was a small place to play, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, those days are kind of gone. I'd like to bring them back. Okay, so yeah, not much gaming yesterday, to be honest. Not much. Let's see. Falco, I remember I was the only kid for a while who didn't have a PC, so I just played Pocket Edition on my phone and pretended I was playing in their world. Oh, that's too bad, but that's actually a good way to go about it. Anyway, so. All right, Hyperlight Breaker Early Access Launch Trailer Screenshots. This looks great. This is a sequel to Hyperlight Drifter, and it looks like it's a little bit bigger in terms of scope of the game. Here's the thing. It is early access, so that's when I'm like, then I'll wait. But I've realized now, more than ever, everything is early access. Every game that comes out is its early access period. And I'd feel like I'd have to do more research to figure out, okay, at what point is this game compared to where you want it when it's out? And that's where I have to juggle the time. Should I play it now or should I wait? There are games that I got in early access that then by the time they released, I didn't play them because I played enough. And then there are games that I didn't get in early access and then they came out and then I played them, and I'm always wondering, what would have this been like before? I think V Rising is a good example. So yeah, there's that. Assassin's Creed games and Metal Gear Solid Delta tipped for Switch 2 release. Several third-party games in development for Switch 2 have seemingly been revealed. The latest episode of the... Okay, Nate the Hate... Oh, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, actually, but this might be then maybe a little bit more information. One title that will be there within the launch window comes from Ubisoft. It's going to be Assassin's Creed Mirage, Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. Okay, Assassin's Creed Shadows expected to come to Switch 2 at a later date. Okay. Division, Rainbow Six Siege. This is what I want to happen. I want the Switch 2 to get all of the, the normal games that we would get multi-platform. A sneeze is coming. Wow, that just had to happen. I'm telling you, it didn't happen during stream yesterday. Anyway, because that's what's cool about the Switch 2, because I think where Nintendo has a leg up with their platforms is they have exclusives that are pretty amazing that you can't get anywhere else, right? So if you could play a lot of third-party games, I wonder how many people would just rather play on a Nintendo console because they would have the Nintendo games plus all the third-party games. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. Just because then there's the whole thing: do people want multiple systems? Xbox is going multi-platform anyway. It's like, think about it. You could have a Switch 2 to play multi-platform games, Nintendo games, and Xbox games potentially. And how would that help Nintendo? What if Nintendo then gets an influx of Game Pass subscribers because they can play Game Pass on Switch too? I wonder. I wonder if that's the case, or it's just going to be more of, hey, the game is for sale on Switch too. We'll see. Okay. Xbox to get a new game from legendary Japanese franchise. What could that be? You know, one of my thoughts was Ninja Gaiden. I think that was a pivotal moment for Xbox when not the original, when that 3D Ninja Gaiden came out. Absolutely amazing game. I think it changed action games for a little bit there. Like it brought them to another level. But I guess for some reason the second and third fell flat, and I don't really know what it was. I think it was just one of those, the time and place. Because the dude, is it Itagaki? I forget the guy's name with the sunglasses. I think, and I want to say that team worked on Wanted Dead, which I played last year, but I think it came out the year before. Excellent game. But I'm wondering what it would be. It's something that hasn't been announced yet. The Kit and Krista podcast was thinking the same thing about the Switch 2 press release possibly being this Thursday as well. Yeah, I think I brought that up yesterday where this week is going to be probably the Switch 2 reveal, and then they'll have like some further, more detailed announcements later on. Because I don't know what to say. Like I'm actually super excited about the Switch 2, not because of the Switch 2 itself, but because of what it could do for the industry. And I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I for a company like Nintendo to be as popular as they are and to have such niche, and when I say niche, I mean probably that's not the right word. Or kind of. Nintendo has its own niche. Like Astrobot didn't sell well on the PS5, but those types of games sell well on a Nintendo system. So with better graphics, all this stuff would be awesome. You know, and I can't stand this. I think it started yesterday where there's like this intermittent delay with the camera. Oh, I bet it's Chrome. I bet it's the ads. That always happens. Anyway, Anyway, okay, back to the Xbox thing real quick. It would be interesting, though, if this Japanese franchise game that they're getting gets released on the Switch and PlayStation anyway. So it would be one of those things that would be maybe Game Pass, but I don't know what it could be. I don't know. One thing it could be, legendary Japanese franchise. What if Xbox got exclusive rights to the next Castlevania? What if that's what it is? That would be insane. I don't see that happening. Although with that new Castlevania show that starts Thursday, the new season, I wonder if that they're trying to coincide. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on. Street Fighter 6 DLC character I had to show this because I originally got Street Fighter 6 to unlock Terry Bogard? Am I forgetting? All of a sudden, Fatal Fury is coming to mind, but no, Terry Bogard, yeah. And I couldn't figure out what to do, and now they have another King of Fighters character, and a pleasing one to look at. And the moves look great. I love SNK fighters. So it's like I want to jump back into Street Fighter, but I am so lost with Street Fighter 6. When I log in, I'm not sure what I need to be doing, where I need to be going, because it has some weird, maybe I just need to take more time to do it, but let's see. There's a video that you could check out that actually has her doing her moves and all that. It feels very, really cool alternate outfit. Yeah, I like the direction they're going with that. Oh yeah, here's the gameplay trailer. I mean, yeah, Street Fighter 6 is a good-looking game, and I've had fun playing it, but the menu system, the system in which you jump in to do your gameplay loop, like, I'm not understanding the format. I think it's supposed to be more you just go online, you make your character. I'll figure it out. Man, and I like the effects, like, on the ground, the leaves, when, yeah, it's a good-looking game, Okay, Sega trademarks could point to the return of another classic series. Just look at this real quick. Echo That's interesting. But yeah, we've heard Sega's like kind of jumping into that where they're trying to, go to their older games. We've seen that for a bit. Okay, The Witcher 3 director reveals new open world RPG, The Blood of Dawnwalker. So this is something I've talked about before where a lot of staff of the Witcher franchise are not there anymore, CD Projekt Red. And that's why I think that's more where I think a lot of the online discourses around Witcher 4, but I think people just jump to, oh, it's the girl's not a Witcher. I don't know that story stuff. But when people complain about little things like that, have nothing to do with gameplay, it makes me think, what's the real deep down complaint? And I just do think there's that lost a sense of direction because you have a lot of staff that worked on the Witcher games not there anymore. And this new game they're showing, it looks neat, but then I'm like, but what about it? And that is, it's an open world. Did I have? Yeah, I had this little thing. Check this out. Check this gameplay out. So you look like a samurai white vampire dude, just the way, his armor is. And it's open world, and this is the most action they've shown even though it looks like it's, so like when I see a scene like that, okay, like Breath of the Wild, it's like, oh, that looks sick. I can't wait to run around. So you're a vampire. It's medieval. That stuff looks cool. But I've always found an issue with the Witcher games in terms of gameplay where I felt, and this is completely valid, this is just my personal opinion, but a lot of times those Witcher games are very narrative driven. So as I'm going from person to person, scene to scene, quest to quest, it's the narrative and the talking that's driving everything. It's not and I felt like I didn't get into combat too much. Or when I did, it was super basic. You could do your signes or your signs, whatever they called that, to prepare for battle. And then you can go into battle, and then you have a few combos you could do. I always felt like, it was just kind of basic. East European settings had a similar armor. Yeah, just kind of like Vlad the Impaler, actually, with that sort of segmented little armor thing. I love the look. I love the look they're going for here. I love the hair. That's the thing. Like, this is a cool looking video game protagonist. And I don't feel like I've seen one in a long time that stood out. Like, it really does stand out to me. And most of this trailer is just CGI, like movie. Oh no, vampires. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. Trust me. I like vampires. But I really wish it was a thing in the industry when marketing your game to show gameplay. To just, like, that is what people want out of it. But at the same time, this is where there's that interesting divide in gaming where this is more of a cinematic trailer. Because then there's people that might want to be in the game because they want to know what the next story is or a story. And it's funny because when I play games, I'm never like, oh, I can't wait to see what the story is or what's going to happen next. But I think, again, that's a personal opinion. I think there's a divide there. All right, what was this one? Oh, this looks awesome. Yeah, let me see. Was there a video about it? Yeah, check this out. This is like Space Harrier, Panzer Dragon, but it's using anime artwork that actually looks pretty good. Like, it seems like it fits in. Because I'm about to make another anime complaint here in a second. Oh, it's funny. It looked like something from Macross. But anyway, like that looks awesome. I love that it's like animation in the world, and it's a shooter. Like, I think that's the main thing. We just talked about I don't like stories that much. Yeah, this is just straight up a shooter. Yeah, there's that Macross looking thing. Yeah, even that to a degree. Yeah, this looks great. I think, did I add it on my, yeah, let me go to the Steam thing real quick. I don't think it has a date. Yeah, it just says coming soon. And I've added it to my wish list. But this is an example of something that I would play day one and I would have fun with because it's straight up, yeah, that's like from Dragon Ball, right? Like, I think this is just purposely kind of grabbing things from anime that we know, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, because I was just thinking about that yesterday. You know what? If Oh yeah, Sin and Punishment. That's another good example. Yeah, if you guys, I don't know if it will be on Wednesday's show with Midnight Hatter or Thursday's show, Gundam Explained, but I want to talk about, I've been watching Evangelion, and it's been a roller coaster of like, oh, this is incredible. Oh, this is slop. Oh, this is pretty interesting. And it's like, oh, I get what anime is now. I get what anime is doing. Like, it's a wild ride. And just seeing this kind of remind me of that sort of thing. Anyway, this looks great. What else have they made? Nothing else. Well, cool. I mean, that's a great game to start with, I guess. Let's see. As long as you're enjoying EVA or EVA, am I? It is weird. I think it's a journey. You don't watch it just to watch it and be like, that was interesting. I feel like Evangelion is a journey that you go on, where some journeys take you off the beaten path. That's what seems to be going on. I mean, I just finished the episode where they were at the hot springs and the girls were cleaning each other. It was really awkward, like weird setting. I was like, okay, all right. Which one is this? Tencent and NetEase bow to China game time limit regulations. Okay, here's another example of the China propaganda I hear. There's a lot of things that I will hear auxiliary, either in news or whatever, about China being the bad guy. China, you can't trust China. And, you know, I don't know how much that is American propaganda, which, again, I'm not, that's just how it works. That's fine. I mean, obviously, as a dad, I'm going to have propaganda about me that's cooler than the other dads, you know, so I get it. But when I see something like this, it makes me respect things that are going on there. But again, I don't know what I think exactly. So let me break this down. So there's going to be a holiday period between January 15th and February 14th in China. And the government is going to make it where children under 18 only can play 16 hours of video games during that time. Like, on one hand, I do understand how important it is to impose and to almost teach. It's a teachable thing. You have to teach limits to kids about using things, about using an electronic device, about playing a game, about eating right, about stuff that as you get older, drugs, medicine, food, everything has to be done in moderation. And it's very easy. I mean, even working out. You can't overwork out. If you do, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to tear tendons am I trying to say? Ligaments? I think I said lendins. But you can pull a muscle, overdoing it. And I think it's very easy for younger people to play too many video games. Now, on the other hand, it's like, well, that should be the parent's job. And it kind of should be, I guess. And I don't know the complete economy of China and how it affects adults, but I know here in the U.S., you know, with so many things, you know, going up in price and stuff, there is this sort of almost like a dodgeball. That doesn't make sense. A tug of war. I don't know. There's this back and forth balancing act of like allowing, you know, the freedom to do what you want, but then kind of limiting it. On one hand, I think it's crazy that the government would impose that limit, but on the other hand, what if it's a population of parents that aren't doing the best for the kids because of the economic times? And I guess that's what I was trying to get at. It's like, for instance, COVID. Like, my youngest was in 2nd grade, and I pretty much had to teach him school while I was working at home. And that was crazy. Like, that's going to have an effect in the future. It could, possibly. I mean, it's like little things like that can always happen. And like, how much do you really want the government to interfere? I don't know. I find this interesting to think about. That in China, they are trying to impose limits on children playing video games. So, Fulcrum, Eva was the first anime I ever watched at the exact right time in my life. I needed to watch it. I think that makes a huge difference with that show. You are exactly right. There are things that were going on in that show where I was like, if I was a teenager watching this would be the coolest thing ever. Even as an adult, I'm like, that's pretty cool for, you know, the teenagers, because there is a lot of the narrative part of the Eva. If you take out the angels and the mechs and the world building. It's kind of that time of being a child turned teen thrust into an adult world, which I almost feel like is universal in a way. Jim Felix, but the problem ultimately that it's the government doing it amongst so many things that are much worse by comparison. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, you know, it's the government doing it, you know. I almost wish there was a way, you know, and Steven has talked about this to me with video games and video game development. It's like, instead of limiting the player, what can you provide for the player to enrich their experience? And that could be what really the problem is in China. I know, again, I think whatever economic problems are in China, but probably similar to the US. Like, again, ever since Black Myth Wukong controversy, I've been reading into China a lot, watching China YouTubers, and I feel like we're exactly the same. Even if it's just the level of the people enjoying the video games. And it could be that, yeah, China's way maybe of coming across with a lot of their initiatives aren't really best long term, but they're good immediate term. But I think there's a way, both in the US and in China, that the government could facilitate enriching us a lot more. Because a lot of times video games are kind of like that escapist hobby. One, it's a hobby because it's fun, but two, you can turn it into an escapist hobby as your life. If there's not much else going on, you know, you're down on your luck, etc. Sometimes having a video game helps. Then you can get trapped into that. Well, it's like, well, this is my life, so I'll always be in video games, you know. Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. Because, and I'll give an example. Like, when I grew up, I was lucky to have the video games. My dad already had a PC since the 80s that played games. We had an Atari. We got the Sega Genesis when it came out, the Super Nintendo. But that time, I guess, in the world economy, I guess, United States economy, you know, late 80s, early 90s, there was so much in life to do where I would just be going out with friends all the time, on the street, doing things. Like, you know, we didn't have cell phones, so there was more, I think, work involved into seeking out, you know, the adventure that you would have, I guess. And we don't get that a lot anymore, right? Everything is more instant gratification. So I think the government needs to facilitate enriching our lives and not throwing, you know, instant gratification in our face and then, yeah, like China, kind of limiting it. I don't know. These are really just thoughts that I'm throwing out there as I'm thinking. When people say China, always read CCP because most people see the Chinese people as the same but different like everyone else. That and historically support for Taiwan and sympathy for Hong Kong. Yeah, there's so many layers to this. And I remember I learned a lot about that. I think this was in the 90s, the late 90s, wasn't it 97, where Britain backed out, or England backed out of Hong Kong? Because I remember I was reading a James Bond novel that came out around that time. And it was talking about the last of, like, Britain and Hong Kong. And then I was interested, so I was researching. I don't know if it was... yeah, there was internet to a degree when I was doing this, but I think I would go to the library more at that point. Anyway, good conversation, JMQX. Thanks for bringing that stuff up. It's always interesting to kind of talk through what different societies are doing. Okay, here's one that's interesting. Sledgehammer's multiplayer creative director leaves after 15 years. So I don't know if this is good or bad, but the guy that's been in charge of the Sledgehammer games, Call of Duty games, I'm butchering it. He did that for 15 years, but, you know, I was reading this article about some of the stuff that he was involved with, regrets he's made. He really sounds like a guy that is really honed in on the craft of creating these multiplayer experiences. He talked about how he created the iconic sequence where Soap succumbs to his wounds in Modern Warfare 3 in 2011, so that one, and talked about how Advanced Warfare was a challenge to make. And to be honest, I found that to be a very unique Call of Duty. I really liked that time period of Call of Duty. I felt like they were trying a bunch of different things. He was instrumental in revisiting the Modern Warfare 2 maps in Modern Warfare 3. It's widely considered the worst Call of Duty game to emerge in recent years, but the fan service was nothing. And it's funny, I really do think it's more of a zeitgeist thing. People just wanted to be mad at a Call of Duty game because it wasn't doing anything new or different. And that's what happens a lot, where you'll be engaged with something and it's bothering you, but you don't know why. So a lot of times you'll pick out surface level stuff. And no one can really say why they thought Modern Warfare 3 last year was bad, other than saying, well, the campaign wasn't great, but the campaign was pretty interesting. It did the whole open world level stuff. Because here's the issue. Modern Warfare 3 was supposed to be DLC for... Was it Modern Warfare 2? The one that came right before? I'm really bad at that stuff. And instead, yeah, it became a full game. I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun. In fact, this year's Black Ops 6, I've barely been playing. Okay, and then real quick, let's look at what's coming out for the rest of January. So what we're on the 14th. So today, Heroes of Hammerwatch 2. I mean, it's like that sounds familiar. I don't remember one. Let's see. A roguelite action RPG that offers extensive, persistent progression. Okay. Those three words together, extensive, persistent progression, sold me. I'm actually going to download the demo right now. Okay, actually, I'm glad I'm here, because this is, well, let me finish, actually, this article. Okay. Hyperlight Breaker, Threefold Recital, Aloft, Runny Bunny, The Rootress Are Dead. There's so many interesting naming games here that you never know. They could be bangers. Oh, interesting. That looks like a narrative game. Okay. So Dynasty Warriors Origins. Wow, that is coming up this Friday. That might be my weekend game then. Tales of Grace Remastered, JamKillX. It sounds like something you would play along with Dynasty Warriors Origins, but let's see. Okay, so it's Bandai Namco. Easier to play version? Interesting. And I'm assuming it's just turn-based combat. I mean, I would be interested, you know, I don't know. I would be interested in real-time combat, but then sometimes, like with Final Fantasy Rebirth, there's just so much dialogue, and I'm like, well, yes, action combat JRPG. Oh. Still have the original PS3 version. Okay, so this is then something interesting. Okay, well, wait, Tales of is interesting. Let's see. Oh, and they did Dragon Quest stuff, Crisis Core. Okay. Yeah, let me just throw this in my wish list. You know, just because I throw it in my wish list doesn't mean I'm going to play it. Okay. But, you know, okay, I gotta finish up here. Super Roboy? Let's see what that is. No. Nope. Okay, don't know what that is. But really, coming up, Jedi Power Battles for sure. That's going to be fun. Man, there's a lot of interesting sounding things. I don't know what to expect, but really what I can't wait for is the Sniper Elite Resistance. And then anyway, the last thing I want to show is the Citadel. The Citadel 2 just came out earlier this month. I had never played Citadel, and I think it's because of this cover. It just shows like an anime girl, and then it's a first-person shooter, so I'm like, well, I wouldn't care. But the reviews are positive. The sequel has very positive reviews, so I might check it out. Okay, well, that's about it all. Thanks for joining this morning. I like the discussions we had in chat. But yeah, have a good rest of the day, and we will talk tomorrow. So see you all.